Oh boy, it's a hot show today, a Friday edition, orange and blue today. Cecil Lammy, Andrew Mason talking about 3 of the worst pre-draft takes from Anonymous Scout. Oh, we go through this every year, mate.
Yep, Anonymous Scout.
Oh.
Float of anonymity out there, and you get some takes. Hot takes. So hot they're steaming. Steaming that can be used to describe something else, right? That's why I use the word steaming.
Yes.
Because some of these that we're going to put out there are a pile of beep.
The beep is always dirtier than the word.
Yes.
But bird is the word you heard, and Anonymous Scout is the show we're doing because we have to fight back against this mace. I don't know why it gets traction every year, but this is a drill and a routine that you and I have been through before from Bob McGinn. Thanks, Bob.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Bob McGinn, longtime writer, a longtime beat writer covering the Green Bay Packers. That was his beat for a long time. And it's an annual tradition of his to do a series of draft preview articles in which he cites reports from anonymous scouts around the NFL. And used to do these for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Now he does these at the golongtd.com Substack. I'm a subscriber. I recommend subscribing. There's a lot of really informative stuff there. But this is one of the things that you get some information, and some of the takes are informative. But there are always some that are, frankly, borderline kind of libelous, slanderous almost. They get into the character realm. Now, some of them can be kind of comically bad when you look back on them. Like I was looking back at the Jaden Daniels takes, getting chuckles. And if you look back at the Bo Nix takes, well, let's just take a look at them really quick here.
Oh,
Kenny Pickett is better.
Oh my God. I've always questioned how well he feels the game. If things break down, he panics. What?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
How wrong did these turn out to be?
As wrong as they possibly can be.
Yes.
I don't know how you see that. If you watch film of Bo Nix at Oregon, how do you see what that is?
Yeah. Woof. Oh,
it's a miss.
So that's why you take these with a grain of salt, right? You have to. So they run the gamut. There are some that I go through and I'm like, okay, I think there's something to consider here. Some are given in good faith. Some are nonsense. We've gotten into some of these because, like, for a while, I mean, you remember the year of Cam Newton, 2011, when he was going to be the number 1 pick. Some of these anonymous scout quotes that came out, frankly, there was an element of racism to them.
And some of it wasn't even anonymous. Pro Football Weekly employed Nolen Araki back then.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
it was a mess.
We can go through why does he smile so much? Like just blatant racism when the Cam Newton takes. And yes, honestly, Mace, there are some of these old school scouts that this is their opinion.
Yeah.
It's not like Bob's making this stuff up. He's talking to people and he's telling them what they're saying.
And what we see a lot of now in the NIL transfer portal era, you see a lot of BS that kind of floats around players that do transfer.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it comes from places where the players left. Here's one that really kind of stuck in me that I didn't like. This was about Quinshon Judkins, who, of course, transferred from Mississippi to Ohio State. And this is one of the anonymous scout takes. Here we go. He got there to Ole Miss and burst on the scene, and every last ounce of it went to his head. He was then very problematic that Coach Lane Kiffin, couldn't stand the kid. Now, I'm reading this and like, okay, this reads like somebody. This reads like a jilted lover here.
Oh, yes, for sure.
I can't trust this. I can't trust this take because this is a situation that isn't going to happen in the NFL at all. This reads like somebody who is upset because Judkins got a better offer and left, as is his right in the transfer portal era.
Yes.
So this is a take that is nonsense and is completely not analogous to a situation that he's going to face in the NFL.
And it reminds me, standing there at the combine waiting for Judkins, there were some SEC reporters. I don't know who they are. I'm sure they're great people. But they're like, is anyone going to ask him what happened at Ole Miss? Like it was some sort of controversy or this amazing thing. It's like, we're in a transfer portal era, and I understand that years ago it would be seen as a bad thing.
Yeah.
No one dinged Joe Flacco for leaving Pitt because of what Tyler Palco, I think, was there.
Yep.
So, like, no one dings him for that. Why is someone dinging Judkins for this?
The first time we saw a lot of this in earnest was Justin Fields 4 years ago.
Very good. Yep.
Going from Georgia to Ohio State. But it was interesting. People made a deal out of that with Justin Fields. Nobody made a deal out of that with Justin Burrow going from Ohio State to LSU.
Yeah, no one said anything about Joe Burrow. And we also do remember, it wasn't anonymous again, but when Dan Orlovsky said the stuff about Fields using his epilepsy to get out of practice,
yeah,
that's just stuff you do not run with because it's horrible and untrue.
Skin color. It's telling you. It's all element of racism to this.
Because Joe Burrow has the problems like Justin Fields has with it's just health, it's epilepsy, and he misses some practice time or he's the last one to go on the field. Nobody says anything about Joe Burrow.
Yeah, no one does. Anyway, so there are some that make sense. I mean, I don't want to totally broad brush this. Let's start with Ashton Jeanty, a player that you and I both like. Whoever takes this young man will be absolutely thrilled from the minute they draft him, the minute he retires. He's a rare human being and a rare player. I just don't see how he fails. That's a critique. That is as good as it gets about a player. Another one, he's good, but this is on the negative side. He's good, not special, and I certainly wouldn't take him in the first round.
Oh, oh my God. I wouldn't take him in the first round? What? Is this the level of competition thing again? Is this the he didn't play anyone at Boise thing again? I can't stand that.
Again, if that's the critique, did they not watch the Oregon game? Did they not watch the Penn State game?
Right.
Especially the Penn State game when that defense built to stop him, stacked boxes, 8 in the box, 9 in the box, said, hey, we know there's only one way you can beat us. And he still had over 100 yards.
Right.
Still was the best player on the field. Another great player on the field that day was Tyler Warren. You saw his picture. And here's what I thought was a pretty nonsensical take. He's a little tight. That's what bothers me. Just a little stiff to be playing in the offenses we're playing in right now. I see him as not being flexible enough. I could be wrong.
A nice caveat. I could be wrong on a tremendously wrong take. In fact, you could take the opposite of that, Mace, and be like, he's incredibly flexible. Incredibly, he'll get low as a runner.
Yeah.
The tight end gets low as a runner. Ugh.
Exactly. Gets low and then gets high, can make that one-handed catch.
Not flexible.
Incredibly athletic. There was in the post about Warren, there were quotes from anonymous scouts saying, okay, not as good as Brock Bowers. I agree with it. He's going to go higher than Brock Bowers did last year, but is he Brock Bowers? No. I think there's a market correction going on with the tight end position, a reaction to Bowers going lower than he should have. Brock Bowers should have been a top 5 tight end in much the same way as Kyle Pitts was a top 5 tight end in 2021. Brock Bowers should have been a top 5 pick last year.
Yeah.
Got it wrong. Some of it was the quarterbacks going high, but he still should have gone 4th. Realistically, if you look back on it. That's where the miss is going to be on Brock Bowers. It's not that he should have gone 1, 2, or 3, considering the primacy of the quarterback position, but he should have gone 4th. That's where you're going to look back and say, okay, that was a miss. But that Tyler Warren take, I mean, I got to look at it again. A little tight,
What?
a little stiff. You watch the dude.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. That's an opinion that's formed off of like a play,
Yes.
a series, maybe.
A lot of critiques about Shedeur Sanders out there.
Oh, of course. God.
Here we go. Here's a couple of them from anonymous scouts, plural, because 2 quotes, 2 separate scouts.
Ugh.
He's a second or third rounder at best. He's a complete backyard football player. The son's got mom's talent. Oh, boy.
Now, see, right there, that's misogynist. It's a whole throw like a girl thing.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're going to tell the truth, and we're not going to pull any punches on this one, Mace, but like, that's BS. I wish I could cuss over that. Like, complete backyard football player. If you wanted to say that about Cam Ward, he's the improvisational one.
Yeah.
Now, Shedeur had to run for his life because CU's offensive line wasn't good his first year. It was better last year, and he took a lot of sacks. Okay, that's something. But backyard football player? The dude will slice you up from the pocket. He's an advanced pocket passer. And this whole like fall out of the first round thing, come on, man.
He might fall through the first round, but he's not going to fall out of the first round. Now, I mean, it might actually be the best thing that happened to him. I mean, if I could actually draw up a perfect scenario for Shedeur Sanders, if he fell, it's the Rams. He might fall into Sean McVay and that scheme.
The guy that wanted Bo Nix.
Yeah.
I know that Jay Glazer reported opposite of that, but when we have Chad Ryder telling us that, you know, I'm going to take Chad's spot there. But that's a guy and that's a situation. Again, it's all about fit, especially with quarterback. We'll see with Cam Ward. Well, we'll see if Tennessee's got going on. But if he goes to McVay, I was thinking Tomlin. I talked to one of our friends in this world, I'll tell you off air who it was yesterday, and we were talking about Mike Tomlin's propensity to draft family players, right?
Yes.
Guys that have grew up with Cam Hayward, right? You've been around football, the Watts, TJ Watt, you're around football.
Yes.
Shedeur Sanders, obviously, as Dion said, he's built for this.
Been around football, been around football coaches.
Culture,
that they understand the game. Mm-hmm. They understand the football life. So you can put them in that environment and they're not going to be fazed by any of it. And also, Tomlin's going to create an environment in which that player is going to excel. It's going to be a nurturing environment as well, in which that player can succeed. So, all respect to New Orleans and Kellen Moore and what he's going to try to do if the Saints pick him. By the way, the news breaking today about Derek Carr and the shoulder injury, very interesting. That's maybe puts some urgency if the Saints draft a quarterback, which may not be the best thing for Shedeur Sanders, because like if you're drawing up a scenario, the best thing for Shedeur Sanders might be to get drafted and sit for a minute and watch. That's why a dream scenario for him might be the Rams sitting for a year behind Matthew Stafford and learning that scheme.
It'd be beautiful.
Shedeur Sanders is a quarterback who, if you put him in a scheme, a rigid scheme, I think he can adhere to that and flourish.
Yes, very much so.
Yes.
And remember, for anyone out there, like Carson Palmer, number 1 overall pick, set for a year behind John Kitna.
Yeah.
It happens, man. And it might be the best thing for him also to go to a team with more around him. The Saints have so much. He'll be seen as the savior.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman voice. He will not save the Saints. And then he'll get blamed for it.
Yeah.
You go to Pittsburgh, you sit for a year, and then you've got Mike Tomlin and that team, that culture, that ground game, the defense. What's Sean Payton say his best friend for a rookie quarterback?
Defense and run game.
Sounds like Steelers football.
Yeah. I mean, the Broncos had half of that right. They had the defense. They tried to get the run game going. They built the line. They were number 1 in run block win rate. And some of the running backs averaged more than 4 yards a carry. Unfortunately, the primary ball carrier didn't average 4 yards a carry.
Right.
All right. Let's talk about some critiques from an anonymous scout. Back to this on Omarion Hampton, somebody we've talked about a lot. Here we go. He has a punishing run. Now, these are not hot take critiques, but I think this is interesting. He is a punishing runner, but also has exceptional contact balance to stay on his feet through those collisions. Now, that's going to lead to a shorter career than you'd like. But while he's still young and there's some tread on the tires, man, that guy's going to be a really, really solid player throughout his rookie contract. I actually think this is a fair analysis of Omarion Hampton compared to Ashton Jeanty. I think he will probably have a little bit more contact on him than Jeanty will. And this means he probably may end up being like a 7 to 8 year player rather than a 10 to 12 year player.
I think with a running back, you take 7 or 8 all day. You're expecting like 4 from these guys. And while that's fair, Mace, again, I don't think it's a hot take. What this anonymous scout doesn't bring up is his vision is much better. Like he doesn't seek contact. Calling him Javonte Williams is unfair.
Yeah.
Because Javonte didn't have the vision, something you pointed out almost immediately. Like he didn't have the vision. He would look for contact instead of running to daylight. He would run to the opponent because he wants to run him over. Omarion Hampton can run them over. He will run them over. He has violent intentions when he gets there.
Yeah.
But he's not looking for it. He's got exceptional vision.
Reminds me a little of Eddie George in that regard.
Okay.
And Eddie George actually kind of had that sort of career, that 7 to 8 years, but he did kind of hit that wall about year 6 because he did run to contact. And so I could see that sort of arc for him just because he does take a lot of hits. Now, dumb critique on Omarion Hampton.
Oh, God. 3rd or 4th round in this class. What? Oh, my God. Yeah. Yeah, that's just absolutely terrible because when you look at Omarion Hampton, the special ability as a runner, the ability to carry the load, and Mace, let's look at the window for the Broncos. If the Broncos take Omarion Hampton and he gets 6 years, great.
Yes.
Because you've got the 5th-year option, and then we'll see if you keep him around after that. But in that 6 years, you should be in a Super Bowl with Bo Nix on a rookie deal.
And here's the thing. Maybe he's your alpha right now, year 1. You know what happens with Sean Payton is he gets you as part of a running back committee to where all of a sudden year 15 touches a game.
Yep. That'll extend that for the scout who says he'll only play 4 years or whatever. Sean Payton will get you 8 to 10 because you're playing half the snaps.
And what he becomes, whether he becomes the Kamara half of the duo or the Ingram half of the duo, it maybe depends on what else is there. I mean, that's where it gets interesting with Hampton. He could be Mr. 3 down, but what part of a duo he assumes probably depends more on him, right? What does he do a little bit better? And then what else is there? Like, is he a little bit better at 1st and 2nd down, or is he a little bit better at the more dynamic parts of the game? If he's better, if he's like Kamara, where he's like electric in space, then maybe you're getting him the 15 to 18 touches, but you're emphasizing the pass catching element of it with 50 plus receptions. And in that case, then maybe you've got Audric Estime, who's kind of getting a lot of those the ground and pound short yardage type carries. And he ends up kind of being, 3.8, 4 yards a carry, on 3rd and 2, he's getting the call, right? But if Omarion Hampton, you draft him and he's more effective between the tackles, then your relief is Blake Watson in space and he's getting your 50 or 60 receptions. So, whatever he does better. Before we go, sort of the worst of this,
there's more that's worse.
Let's talk. I want to go through Walter Nolen, what was said about him.
Oh, God.
There's a lot here. It's 3 slides. Okay. It's 3 slides because the anonymous scout with this, he's trying to walk, whoever it is trying to walk this back. So let's start here. Walter Nolen, Mississippi. Broncos met with Walter Nolen at the Combine, had a formal meeting.
Very talented. Yes.
Yes. Says of Walter Nolen, he's probably the biggest mercenary in this whole draft. He's followed the money everywhere, yet is very quiet and shy. You would think totally disinterested. You wouldn't think he's hearing a word the coaches are saying to him. But when the ball is snapped for 4 seconds at a time, he's really talented, really gifted. He's explosive, good with his hands, gives effort. So it's like the scout is saying these things, and it's like, well, I got to say something positive, right? Like trying to walk it back. So he's like,
okay.
goes with his hands, gives effort, but between drills, between snaps, he's on his own program. Organizational support needed is probably an understatement, unquote.
I hate this.
I do. This is where you're starting to get in kind of the slanderous territory, right?
Well,
and it's the sort of stuff that kind of spreads around like wildfire. Whereas I think to myself, okay, this is somebody, a young guy who maybe just needs a little support, the kind of support that an NFL team can offer.
NFL teams don't like anyone that's different.
Yeah.
And if you're quiet and shy or really smart,
Yeah.
Arian Foster had his own ideas about everything, and we can leave that alone. But teams, now he went undrafted because he had shredded his knee, and even at the Senior Bowl, he hurt his knee again. But like, that was a guy where teams like, he's smart, he thinks for himself, he's got his own ideas, and they didn't like it. And that's just stupid. That's stupid. It's a stupid take to be like, you can't be different. You can't be artistic or emotional or like music. Like, you have to be football meathead. And that's what this sounds like to me, in addition to other stuff it sounds like.
Quiet and shy. Well, I mean,
what?
Maybe you came on too hard to him. Maybe
maybe he grew up in a background where you speak when spoken to.
Right. Maybe he had an abusive parent or whatever.
Maybe he's socially awkward.
You don't know what he's been through.
Right.
You haven't walked a mile in his shoes. You don't know. And that's part of what bothers me. Like this sort of BS. You don't know what his life is like. You don't know what made him this way.
And quiet and shy is not bad.
Yeah.
You get us away from our microphones, Mace. You and I are both kind of quiet and shy.
Yes. Yeah. Although, I mean, like if the Broncos go D-line at 20, they're two guys I like, right? I keep saying that. I've said their names: Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolen. Those are two guys I like. And for those, for when the light goes on, when the play goes on, the dude is an absolute beast, right? If he's quiet and shy, that's him. That's, if you start with the fact that when the play happens, he tears it up. Okay. And I see when, his teammates are around him, there's a lot of joy out there. Okay. I'd roll the dice with Walter Nolen any day, based on what I've seen of him and what I know about him.
Yeah.
Give me that over the anonymous nonsense. I'd be thrilled if he was a Bronco. I mean, because you might not get one of the big four tight end running back. You might not get one of those guys, and you might have to stay at 20 because you might not find an offer that you like trade wise.
Or Shedeur may go at 9.
Yeah. So you might have to make a pick, and if you can't get a tight end or a running back, I'm team D line there. And you give me Walter Nolen or Kenneth Grant, I'd be ecstatic. That one bothered me. Reading that ticked me off. That's why I saved it for last.
That one's pretty bad. That one's pretty bad. As I put on my spectacles and I think about our YouTube channel, I think about all the help that we've had along the way and how we appreciate everyone for commenting on this show. What are some of the worst pre-draft takes that you've seen from Anonymous Scout or Twitter or whatever? Let us know in the comments down below. But Mace, before we're out of here, how do folks help us out on YouTube?
Like,
comment,
share,
subscribe,
hit that notification bell
so that you never
miss
vid. That's right. He's Andrew Mason. You follow him on all the socials at Mace Denver. I'm at Cecil Lammy saying OBT's a BFD. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned and stay frosty.